Hello everyone, and welcome to this presentation regarding overcoming obstacles in a traditional classroom with 21st century tools. My name is Stacy Gatis, and I teach English at Shenandoah High School. I also teach their CCP classes for Zane State. So a lot of these tools you'll see on this presentation are tools that I use both in class, in person with my students, as well as remotely when there are various obstacles that we have to overcome with students in different schedules. So our objectives for today are to identify challenges and obstacles to teaching college courses in a traditional environment, and then also to help explore some ideas to overcome these obstacles or challenges. So Zane State is obviously a commuter college, so you do have a lot of commuters, and then we also have a lot of CCP or high school students. So think about those ideas, and let's identify some challenges that come with being a commuter college and also having so many CCP students. So take a few minutes, or a few seconds, I guess, and just brainstorm some of the challenges that we have to overcome. Think about the idea of it being, we have high school students, some of you have adult students, so what challenges do we have to overcome with those? These are some different challenges that I kind of came up with, and hopefully we're on the same page. We have a lot of different schedules with CCP students at the college that they're still trying to be involved with their school, and obviously calamity days, weather-related issues, snow, rain, sleet. It's Ohio. We all have, sometimes we have the same all 4 seasons in one day. Extracurricular activities such as work and sports and those types of things. Think about other duties, family obligations. Children get sick. Maybe it's their parents are getting sick, and the kids are sometimes responsible for taking care of them. What about family expenses just to get to school sometimes can be a barrier for our students. And I just think it's so important to be compassionate and understanding and make sure that we keep in mind that, these students, no matter, what their age, they're here to try to better themselves. And I think that it's really important for us to do whatever we can to help them. It should be our job to help in any way that we can. And so if that is being flexible with them, I think that we should do that so that we are helping to create, positive, productive members of society. We certainly don't want to be a roadblock for them. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through, this presentation. Be flexible. So, be careful not to focus on how it's always been done. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I ask someone, why not try this? Or why aren't you open to new ideas? And they say, well, because I've always done it this way. I just want to pull my hair out. So keep in mind that we should not be focusing on how it's always been done, but we should be open to new ideas and thinking about, how we can prepare students for the world that we're going to live in, not the world that we lived in. Be open to try new methods. And it's okay as we go through this presentation if you don't like all of these ideas, but just try to consider a few as we go through. I also think it's important to think about how many people work from home type businesses or have meetings that take place in coffee shops or restaurants or airports or hotels. Last year we actually had a PD where we video conferenced in a gentleman from Hong Kong at Shenandoah. So we were getting PD from the other side of the world. I've also participated in numerous PD Twitter chats of people who are literally boarding airplanes while they're still providing PD for those of us who are sitting in our living room. I think it's all about flexibility and teaching students how to be successful in the world today and the future. Think about the idea of virtual field trips. Students can use Google Maps or Google, stuff like that to experience places around the world that perhaps they may not ever get to experience because of financial reasons or whatnot. So I think it's really important that we are open to new methods and trying those different tools that are at our fingertips. we can learn, I think it's also important to know that, and our students to know that we can learn just as much from trying something new and failing as we can from succeeding. So it's important, I think, that we model those behaviors for our students. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through. Okay, so some of you may already be doing some of these things, and that's fantastic. So consider recording your lessons, just like a lot of you are probably watching this right now. It allows students who miss class to catch up. It allows students to watch lessons again if they want clarification or if they're confused. It also saves you time and allows you to meet one-on-one with students to be able to meet them where they are. Some examples of lessons that I've created: I record lessons and use screencasts for a lot of different reasons. I give feedback to students on their essays and stuff like that, because oftentimes when you're just making comments on, typing comments, it loses that tone. Stuff that I have to explain over and over again, for example, how to, format APA style, stuff like that, I record over and over again. And forgive me, I do make a lot of references to English as I go through these presentations, because that's what I teach. However, a lot of these ideas you should be able to mold and fit what you teach. So, if you're teaching math and you're just teaching formulas, consider, doing a lesson on formulas on the slides. And that way, students can go watch and rewatch it and do whatever they need to do to really understand the material. Edpuzzle. So if you're watching this recording, I am using Edpuzzle as a way to keep track and make sure that you're not just sitting there bored out of your mind listening to me talk and talk and talk. So Edpuzzle is fantastic because you record your lesson. You can use screencast to record your lesson, and then you can also embed questions within the video to track the student's progress. So how many of you, because I know I do this, you're watching a lesson or a video and you kind of doze off or tune it out, or you pull it up on your laptop because you have to watch it and you set the laptop down and you go start doing other stuff. I know I do that as well. So this tool allows you to embed questions throughout your video and check for understanding with those formative assessments. So I would encourage you to just go on Edpuzzle and just check it out, just see how it works, and perhaps watch a tutorial if you if you're interested in doing this. It's a really neat tool. Twitter. Oh my goodness. Okay. Consider, if you do not have a professional Twitter account, consider getting a Twitter account, because Twitter is fantastic for a lot of different reasons. You can certainly have Twitter chats to have class chats. You can live stream your lessons on Twitter, and it's also great for PD opportunities. I think that it's also important to consider it's harder to get your point across in 260 characters than it is like an entire essay. So I think it's also important to consider the fact that this is a great way to network for you and our students. So, consider finding some of those professionals on Twitter that have to do with the content that you teach or the professions that your students are going to be in, and consider having students follow those people or ask those professionals to join in on your class chats. It would be a fantastic idea to have those people who are actually in the profession, participating. It's kind of like having a guest speaker. So I would say do a poll at the beginning of your class to see if there are any major privacy conflicts. And I would venture to guess that a lot of your students are already on social media. And for that small portion of students that privacy is a challenge, consider giving them some type of alternative assignment, instead of participating in these things. But again, I think that you'll find that the majority of your students already have social media and would be more than happy to sit on their couch and participate in a Twitter chat rather than drive and be there in person. And I'm not saying that this needs to happen all the time. However, it could be a good alternative when you have some of these other obstacles or barriers. All right, Facebook, pretty much the same idea as Twitter. I would encourage you to consider having a professional Facebook account or page. Live stream your lessons. You can live stream on them again. Make them interactive. Have class discussions via a Facebook post. And again, always check for privacy settings. So I also think that it might be a neat idea to have those students interact with students that you've had in the past? What if you had, you know, those students who have already had you or who are in the profession that could go back and give the current students advice and tips and ideas on how to make sure that they are successful in their future careers? Flipgrid or Seesaw, these two platforms are similar. My students tend to like Seesaw a little bit better than Flipgrid, but what it does is that it allows you to have video discussions, little short video clips, and it allows students to interact with each other from their own locations, or you know, or together, whichever you prefer. So it also allows for instant feedback from the teacher too. So check those out, Flipgrid and Seesaw. Seesaw allows you to do a little more than just videos, but if you just want to keep it simple, Flipgrid is definitely the way to go. Padlet. I use this a lot in my classroom. The students really like it, but you could also give students the code and then post whatever they want onto the thread as well. And basically, it's a live thing where you can add pictures, little video clips, words, whatever you want. I've used this a lot in my American literature class, in my comp classes, as an alternative way to have class discussions. But you could use it outside of the class, because what it does is once you have the class code, you can see you can see what everybody's posting in real time. So perhaps you have you know, somebody who wants to post a picture to kind of get a discussion going, or words would be better. It just depends on what they're doing, or maybe you want them to showcase what they're working on, so they can post a video of what they're working on, or post a picture of what they're working on, and go that route. So what I would like for you to do right now, and for those of you guys who are watching the recording, take 5 to 7 minutes. Just pick one of these tools and explore the website. Just something that would interest you. Take a few minutes and go back and take a look at those websites and see if you can just try something new. Perhaps watch a tutorial. Next, again, if you're watching this at home, consider talking with someone who teaches in the same department as you. Obviously, you're not going to be doing it right now. However, I would encourage you to talk with somebody in the same department as you at some point in time and discuss how you can possibly use one of these tools in your classroom. And I'm going to ask you kind of brainstorm some ideas of how you can take those tools and mold them to fit your content. Okay, next, find a partner or two, or brainstorm yourself, ways that you can use these to help overcome the obstacles that we discussed at the beginning. So what are some different ideas of how you can use these tools to help you overcome those obstacles? And then finally, questions or comments. I would really appreciate it if you could fill out the Google form and provide feedback so that I can improve for next time. You know, I've just started giving these presentations, so I'm certainly not an expert, and I'm always looking for ways to improve. So take a few minutes and fill out that form. I would really appreciate your honest and candid feedback. And then finally, you guys have the remainder of the time to work. I would encourage you to try to take one of these tools and just plan a lesson using one of the tools provided, just one. I hope you found this presentation helpful. And you know, if you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to send me an email.